fame, power. These are the things One Piece has achieved after 15 years. Before the series released One Piece Romance Dawn, various reviewers said, just watch the anime. No one really bought the game after that. But I still did, so hey, I'm gonna review it. And I'm just gonna kind of have this on in the background. So yeah, I play. No, I'll lower it a little because I'm gonna get distracted. But I recently played One Piece Romance Dawn. Not alright. Before I say anything about the game, I'm just gonna turn the music off. It's distracting. It is not nearly as bad as reviews make it out to be. If you like One Piece and you have a 3DS and you're waiting for something to play before Mario Kart 8, go play it. It's honestly a pretty good game. Most of the game I enjoyed playing. Um, let's just look at the story first. It summarizes 500 episodes into a 50-hour game. I had like 47 hours when I was done. There is a problem with this though. One, this is gonna have spoilers and everything. So if you haven't watched like the first 517 episodes of One Piece, leave this video now, or don't play the game. I'm gonna say if you haven't watched the anime, you're gonna be really confused. So watch the anime and then buy this game. So it summarizes the first 500 episodes. Not really, though, because they skip most of the filler, which I don't have a problem with. None of the filler in the first half I don't really have a problem with. I did like the firework one, but there's no point in keeping that one in. I'm just an Usopp fanboy. Oh, and the one with after Impel Down, or not Impel Down, Enies Lobby, where there was the family ice. I don't remember that filler, but I thought that was pretty good. Um, what do I want to say? They do skip over a lot, like I was saying, though. They skip over two of my favorite arcs in the whole entire series, the Foxy Pirates and Skypiea. I mean, the Foxy Pirates I could kind of understand because it would be completely different gameplay. It would just be like mini games, trying to keep your crewmates. I don't know how that would work. And then you would randomly have to fight Foxy. Yeah, I'm not really a huge fan of them skipping it, but they could have at least summarized it. I mean, they kept freaking, or they kind of had to keep the Twin Peaks in the game, but still, they kept so many ones that weren't worth keeping in the game. Um, they also skipped over Sabondi Archipelago. They kind of skimmed over it. Oh my god, some of the translation is just ridiculous. I'll talk about that when I go more in depth, but the places it does go over from my memory is starts with by the way, starts with like 15 minutes of dialogue. Just if you know the first like few episodes, just skip right over it and go straight into gameplay. It'll just take you straight to the marine base where Zoro is being held. It's a lot of text, so just skip that if you're gonna want to like the game, because that's another problem. The way the story is presented through boxes. I'll explain this at the end, but it's explained through boxes where they talk, and to find out who's talking, the box kind of boom, 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 boom goes up and down and stuff like that. I'm not a huge fan of that. But what other story arcs did they skip? Uh, they kind of summarize Sabondi Archipelago and the Kua Pirates. I'm talking about Amazon Lily. There we go. They skip over Sabondi, which I have a problem with, because then at the end of the game, when Trafalgar Law saves Luffy, then he's just randomly there, and you don't really get to see why you don't have anyone else. They don't give you a real reason for going to Impel Down. But like I was saying, places in the game were Windmill Island, I don't remember what it was called, Orange Town, Syrup Village, Barty. Forgive me if I can't pronounce that. I could barely pronounce Roro Noa Zoro. I don't know how to pronounce that. I'll just go with Zoro though. Barty, Then Arlong Park, Drum Island, they skim over Whiskey Peak and Laboon. What comes after? Alabasta, they do a pretty good job with that. I mean, I was never a fan of Alabasta, but they kind of summarized it to be quicker than it needed to be. Still takes a while. Then the problem comes in. You skip straight from Alabasta to Water 7, and there's no character development for Robin. So you're kind of just like, why do I care about Robin? I'll go into a gameplay thing about why I have a problem with this too later. Then after Water 7, you had Thriller Bark, Impel Down, and then Marineford, and then you're done with the game. So, now that I'm done basically explaining the story, it does a pretty bad job. Just watch the anime if you want the story. If you watch the anime, I don't think you'll have a problem. The music, I'm going to go into this next because I had a bunch of problems with it. I'm actually going to play a clip from Bing Sake because this is the first time I really got pissed off from it. So basically, what they did was all the music was original. None of it was from the show, which really disappointed me. And by the time you get to Thriller Bark, you hear Burke playing Bing Sake, or as they call it, Bing Sprue. I'm going to play a clip from Bing Sake. Uh, Alright, before I get entranced by that. So they play, there's Bing Sake. Now, in the game, they call it Bink's Brew. And I guess they had to change the song because the translation is just so messed up. I mean, it's Bing Sake, not Bink's Brew. And they do say sake before in the game, so I don't know why they couldn't have just called it Bing Sake. But apparently Bink's Brew is a different song because they just threw in a piano and made a random song. Really disappointed they didn't use any of the songs for the show because the soundtrack in the show, I always like hear it when I'm watching it. You see the Walk to Arlong Park has that really epic music. Heck, the Gomu Gomu no Bazooka, that's probably my favorite track in the whole show. It's just so fun. They could have done so much with it. I mean, I did like the boss theme. It was actually pretty good, but still, I'm pretty big on music, and the fact they just couldn't take out music that was already taken out from the show and put that in the game, I don't know. That's beyond me. The gameplay I thought was really awesome. Now, it's an RPG. The world map I'm not too fond of because first you have, what do you call it, the East Blue, and then you go into the Grand Line, and East Blue is about 5 episodes, and the Grand Line is about 7 of gameplay. And here's my problem. In East Blue, you could finish Axan Morgan's base in about 20 minutes, and I finished Marineford in like 3 days. The pacing is so bad. It's, seriously, the pacing, I understand it's a game and the levels are supposed to get longer, but to go from 20 minutes on one map to a day is just ridiculous, and you're fighting so many of the same enemies. I'm just going to go over each area in a little depth. Marine Base, you fought Captain Morgan and got Zoro. Orange Town, you got I almost said Mommy. You got Nami and fought Buggy. Syrup Village, you got Usopp, my favorite character. Should have drew him. I'll have a speed art of what I drew up a while ago. These are like parody speed arts, but whatever. You go to Arlong Park, fight you fight Kuro on Syrup Village. You go to Barty, you get Sanji, you fight Don Krieg. You go to Arlong Park, you fight Hachi, Kurobi, the one that does Fishman Karate that no one cares about, and you fight Arlong. You go to Drum Island, fight Wapol. You go to Alabasta, fight Mr. Four, Lasso, and Miss Merry Christmas. Which, That's a translation I like that they kept. They kept it as Miss Merry Christmas. They didn't change it to Miss Groundhog's Day. You fought Mr. No, you do not fight Mr. 3. Who was Mr. No, Mr. 3 you don't fight in the game at all, which surprised me. Because he's one of the main characters and they mention him for 1 second. You fight Mr. 2 with Sanji. You fight Mr. 1 and Miss Doublefinger, and you fight Crocodile. After that was Water 7. You just fight Frankie. In Enies Lobby was where it just started to get really long. They took out another problem I have with the game. They take out some of the best things that could have been bosses. They could have made, what do you call it? They could have like had, oh God, I don't remember the name of Little Garden. There we go. They could have added like, freaking Mr. 3 and Miss Golden Week as a boss, where you could fight with the Giants of Elbaf. And this is where I really started to see the problem. One of my favorite fights in the whole entire series is Fukuro versus Frankie, because it's just so funny. But they took that out completely. They took out Nami versus Khalifa. They took out... No, they did not take out Bluno, which I was surprised about. But that's when I realized this game is really only about Zoro, Sanji, and Luffy. Like... Even then, I'll go into details about the next place you go to. Thriller Bark. The only bosses you fight there are Gecko Moria, Oz, and Gecko Moria you fight as Luffy. Absolum, I don't know how to pronounce that name either. You fight him as Sanji. Zoro, you fight him, whoever had Brook's soul, I don't remember. But they took out another one of my favorite fights, Usopp versus Perona. It's a very comedic fight where Usopp is the only one that has no self-esteem, so he needs to fight Perona. I love that fight. They took it out. They could have thrown Soja King back in there. Thankfully, they didn't take Soja King out, but they kind of shoehorned him in. After that, that's Thriller Bark. Impel Down, I was kind of satisfied with the bosses. You have, oh, yeah, definitely, because you get Buggy. Let's see, who are your NPCs for there? Buggy, Mr. 2, Jinbei, Crocodile, Ivankov, probably someone I'm forgetting. Mr. 1, hold on, Mr. 4 was not there. Yeah, I think that was about it. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, so you had all of them. You have... The bosses are Magellan, Chief Warden Hannibal. They didn't put in the person who rules the creatures, which surprised me. And you have the Minotaur, which I guess is cool. It's not terrible. Like I said, another character they could have used as a boss, they kind of just took it out. And then Marineford, I'd say they did a decent job with Marineford. Your bosses there are the 3 admirals, Luffy versus I don't want to call him Kusan. I'll call him Ojiki. There we go. I can't remember names for crap. You get to fight Akainu, Ojiki, one-on-one, and I guess you have Ace there too. And then you kind of don't really fight Kizaru. And then you fight a Pacifista, which I thought was pretty awesome. Hawkeye Mihawk, which was pretty cool. Even though he never really fights him. You fight Gecko Mori again, and Crocodile. And then Whitebeard's randomly with you to fight the Admirals. I can't really explain that one. And no Doflamingo fight, which I'm hoping in the next game in July, you get you're definitely gonna get a Doflamingo fight in Red World Unlimited. They can't skip Dressrosa in the new one, is what I'm trying to say. But yeah, that's all of the gameplay. There are extra missions where I guess one, the RPGs are great. You could use special moves from the show, like Luffy has the Gomu Gomu no pistol. He has the bazooka. I'm not going to name them all. I'm just going to name the ones I remember the most. Gatling, giant pistol. He has the second gear as an ability. Nami has her Thunderbolt Lance. Zoro has the dual, or the Caliber Phoenix. I guess I'll go with. Sanji has his Diablo Jambe. Usopp has his Firebird Star. Chopper, they could have done so much with him. I'll go into the characters in a little while. Robin has all her hand attacks. Frankie has his weapons left, which made me happy. I didn't see the giant tank, though, and I understand that's the 2-year time skip, but still. And then, Brook, he was okay to play as. He wasn't terrible. Ace, I didn't really play as. He seemed cool, though. They kept all the Japanese voice actors. I like that. And going into abilities, that's where I first really saw that this game had potential to be written well. Because I'm not gonna lie, some of the things in the menus during battles, I just laughed my ass off. Like, there was a healing item called the meat salad, and in parentheses it said no vegetables. Obviously, this is a joke because salad has vegetables. It's just meat if it's only meat. It might have said meat only. I'm not sure. But then, also, I started laughing when I was taking on an extra stage. No, now my mouth is getting moist. An extra stage. And Usopp, as an ability, has fib, or lie, which confuses the enemies. Unfortunately, not all the translation is great. You have... Oh, God, this really disappointed me. Like I said, Binks Brew, why would they do that? And instead of... At the end of Fishman Island, or no, not Fishman Island, that's not in this game. But at the end of Thriller Bark, they're talking about Fishman Island, and Brooke says, I wonder if they'll let me see their panties usually, and then the other guy says mermaids don't wear panties, and then they changed it to I wonder if they'll let me see their pants, which doesn't make sense because mermaids don't have legs. Why would they wear pants? And then they randomly shoehorn Boa Hancock in, which I don't like. I like this game. If you like One Piece, you definitely play it, but so many problems. Some of the textures are pretty bad. Other ones are pretty great. Like, that's a complaint I don't get. Why people were complaining that the textures were weird, because they really weren't. No, the graphics were fine, and I really like the way the character models looked. Like, Brook still looked 9 feet tall. Don't get me wrong, but still. Oh, another problem with gameplay, characters. Like I was saying, you get Robin at Alabasta at the end of that, and for some reason you don't really get to use her until Thriller Bark. Why? Why couldn't they have just added something in the middle? They could have added some filler where you could play as Robin. Why not? They could have added Skypiea. And then Frankie, you barely get to play as him because you go straight to Thriller Bark. And then by the time you beat Thriller Bark, you can't even play as Brook because you're going to Impel Down. That's my problem with the game. They kind of shoehorn things in. And then when someone's like, oh, I want to play as Brook, and then they can't because you go straight to Impel Down where only Luffy goes. Just why? And another problem I had was they only showed Chopper's flashback. They show Luffy's, and they show about 5 seconds of Ace's, and they kind of summarize Nami's and Sanji's, but they don't really... Oh, they do kind of talk about Usopp as long as the anime does, but none of the other characters with backstories. Just Chopper you get to play through it. It's so dumb. Why? I mean, Chopper does have the saddest backstory, or at least one of them, but still. Like, I thought Nami's backstory was pretty sad the first time I saw it. Heck, I didn't cry when I saw them going Barry Burn. I had to skip that episode because I was literally about to cry. I was getting that pre-crying headache. and I just was not feeling it when the Mary Burn, probably because they substituted the music out. But, I'm not gonna judge them. Load times kind of went slow in the beginning, but then they kind of sped up. Another problem in the game is that there's no 3D. I don't have a problem no touchscreen, and I don't have a problem no gyro sensors. But why is there not 3D on the 3DS? I understand it's a port, but you couldn't have at least put like the special moves, like some of the moves go into cutscenes, like the Gatling, the Firebird Star, the Diablo Jambe. You couldn't have at least put those in 3D. That's why I'm looking forward to the new One Piece game. I'm gonna get nice visuals, hopefully a decent story. Oh, another thing this game did good is all Japanese voice actors. I don't really like the dub, but yeah. I think I said all I wanted to. I said that you could barely play as some of the characters, but it's a good game overall. I don't think there's a lot of replay value, but I definitely think if you're waiting for something to hold you off until Mario Kart or well, no, Mario Kart's only like a week away. So if you're looking for something to just hold you off until a game that's coming out, like the new One Piece game, this is a great start, especially considering that summarizes most of the first half. I don't want to say all of it, but most of it. Oh yeah, final thing to complain about. I guess I'll just think of this quickly. What do I want to complain about? There aren't a ton of tutorials. I'm done. That's my opinion on One Piece. Doesn't deserve a 5 out of 10, more like a 7 in my opinion. I don't like to rate games with numbers because, hey, why would you? I mean, that's just like saying compare this to that and this to that, and I mean, I gave Sticker Star something low. I never reviewed it, but still, I gave it something low, so I don't know why I would compare reviews. So I'm just gonna say I like this game. It's good if you like One Piece. If you don't like One Piece, why are you watching this review? And if you're kind of just done watching One Piece, pick this game up. If you don't have a 3DS, this isn't the system grab. It's more like if you're gonna get a 3DS to buy Smash Bros, this is a nice thing to hold you off. So I'm done sharing my opinion. I'll probably upload a speed art of this Chopper. Oh yeah, I'll just go over this in a disclaimer in the next video. So I'll see you guys in my next review. Probably Kirby, because I just played that too. I didn't 100% it, but I almost finished it. So see you guys.